Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Beamer, owner-operator of Expertly Dyed Art by Science, and this is Fiber Talk episode 9, and today we're going to talk about Suffolk. Now, the video that's going to play for you is a video that I recorded about 4 years ago before I even left the United States to go to Britain for my PhD, but I just wanted to give a little update and shout out in case anyone is interested in seeing this video. But I ended up using Suffolk in my many breeds scarf here, which I've now had for about 4 years, and I used Suffolk for one of the white stripes. So if you're interested in that video, post in the comments below and enjoy the following video. Thanks for watching. Bye! Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Beamer, owner-operator of Expertly Dyed Art by Science, and this is Fiber Talk episode number 9, and today we're going to be talking about Suffolk. Now this is one of those wools that kind of gets obscured in everything because they're actually a meat sheep. They're really good at taking feed and converting it into meat, and so their fleeces are often overlooked. However, they're a veritable smorgasbord when it comes to people wanting to get a hold of a fleece and maybe not wanting to spend a whole lot of money, especially if this is your first foray into processing from raw to finished item. Well, because there's a lot of variability, you kind of have to just roll with what you get. And if you're able to, it would be really great to pick out the fleece by hand, and you can actually get a fleece that's pretty soft and durable at the same time. But Suffolk often scares people away, and here's part of the reason. So here we have a lock. So here we have a lock of Suffolk. I've just bent it in half so that the camera would focus. And you can see that it is extremely orange. There is vegetable matter in here, and it's kind of hard to tell. You kind of have to see it in person to see this. But when you first open up the package and all you see is orange, it's a little bit daunting. And then when you look a little deeper, you see, oh, well, there's all kinds of stuff in here. This is one of the things that really scares hand spinners because it looks like a lot of work. However, Suffolk is a very, very easy wool to clean. In fact, it almost cleans itself, and here's part of the reason why. So I have a cold soak method that I like to do before when I'm just working with a raw fleece. Before I do anything else with it, I always put it in cold water. That's it. I just put the fleece in, let it do its thing for 12 to 24 hours, I guess, depending on how really dirty it is. And when I take the fleece out, a lot of the dirt has been loosened and fallen away. A lot of the vegetable matter that was sort of like sticking to the outside has gone away. And it makes the scouring process so much easier. Well, because Suffolk has a lower amount of lanolin, because it's not considered a fine wool, it won't have as much lanolin on the fleece. It makes the scouring process that much easier. So cold soak plus 1 scour actually nets you a wool that is extremely clean, and a lot of the vegetable matter has already started to fall away. So the slightly coarser texture of the wool, it's like I said, 25 to 31 microns, according to the Fleece and Fiber source book, that is. You know, because of the coarser diameter of the fibers and the fact that there isn't a ton of lanolin and that there isn't a lot of cohesiveness of the lock. I mean, sure, they will sit together, like the individual fibers will sit together, but they're not glued together like in some wools. So even though there is a discernible lock structure here, it isn't so tight that the vegetable matter gets stuck. even after it's washed. So when I made this sample, all I did was did the cold soak overnight, and then I scoured it one time, and that was enough. And the resulting wool has just enough lanolin so that the wool doesn't feel dry or brittle, but there isn't so much that it's impossible to work with. Now, I posted a video on my Instagram actually of me taking the the flicked open locks and putting it on my hackle and making a hand-pulled comb top. So this is actually a true worsted yarn, and it turned out very well, despite the fact that it is a true worsted yarn. It's actually extremely squishy. And part of the reason why that's the case is this is actually a down breed. So if you've heard of South Down or Dorset Down, this is also in that same category. So the wool might be a little bit coarse and long. Like the lock that I showed you is probably at least 4 inches long. Because of this, you get that loft that is known about the down breeds, but you can also make a beautiful worsted yarn, true worsted yarn, that has a lot of body and loft. So you can see here how fluffy it looks. When I spun this yarn in particular, I wanted to do something like I did for Cormo. So if you watched my video on Cormo, you will know that I put just enough twist into the single so that it would hold together as a decent single, but not enough to give it a lot of sturdy durability as a two-ply. It was really loose as a two-ply. But when I did go the other direction to ply it on itself, I added more twist in the ply so that I could capitalize on its loft without sacrificing durability. So the two-ply will give it more durability than if it's a single, but I didn't want it to feel hard or dense, which is something that I feared I would lose if I were to spin this as I would normally. I like to do a medium twist single, so in order to do that I have to, of course, spin the single with a lot more twist. So I wanted to make sure I kept that loft, which is absolutely wonderful. I can't stop doing this. I hope you forgive me. And so the resulting yarn is something that is soft. It's durable because it's a two-ply, and it's durable because of its micron diameter. So it's a thicker fiber, it's more durable, it's not going to pill as easily. It also has a longer staple. But depending on the breeder, that might be a shorter staple or it might be a longer staple. The Suffolk that I have worked with in the past has all been roughly the same length. So there's a lot of consistency, at least with my samples. And my samples have been domestic animals from Japan. I also decided to do a 3-ply. Now, I did a 2-ply in my original sample here because I was pretty sure the 3-ply wasn't going to turn out very well, and as I suspected, it didn't. And you can see here, this little spot once it focuses, you'll see this little spot. That is where I took this single and I turned it into a 3-ply by Navajo plying, and that is the spot when I undo it here. That's the spot where, I can't really see that. That's the spot where when I pulled the yarn through, the yarn kind of loops back on itself and that point gets kind of squished. Depending on the wool, that either disappears or it sticks out kind of like a sore thumb. It's not terrible. I mean, you could make a yarn and use it this way and it would be fine. But you can definitely tell that there was a loop there from when I made the chain. So this is part of the reason why I only made a little sample of it, because I suspected that that would be the case. So if you want to make a 3-ply or a multiply using a single, I would suggest either doing a center pole ball and plying on itself that way, or breaking it into multiple bobbins and then plying it traditional. So 3 singles, 3-ply, instead of 1 single into a 3-ply. But the resulting yarn, no matter what I did, so this yarn is actually very round, and it's still really quite bouncy. And even the single, or sorry, even the 2-ply here has a lot of that bounce. In a lot of ways it does remind me of the Cormo. But it has a lot of bounce for being a true worsted yarn. But one thing that I absolutely love about it is that it's very crisp. So if you're making something that has the need for stitch definition, you'll be able to get it with Suffolk. It won't produce a super white yarn. It will have a yellowish cast, and that's based on my experience with the domestic wool from Japan. But it does take dyes fairly well. Just keep in mind that if you want a really light color, it will have a yellowish cast to it, so you're going to take that into consideration when you're dyeing, so you can account for that. And then I'm just going to close out here by showing you a picture of the little guys. One thing that I love about the Fleece and Fiber Source book, and I actually reviewed this on my blog very recently, you'll have the opportunity to go there later, but there are lots of pictures in this book. Now, they're not super consistent. It's not like every single page will have a picture of the sheep, but sometimes they do. So it does have a lot of versatility. You'll be able to find it in a lot of places. I'm not exactly sure where you'll be able to find it, but I'm sure that if you did a little bit of poking around, there must be somebody who has it. Sorry about that. I kind of lost my train of thought. I was thinking of something I was going to say and I completely forgot. If it comes to me, I will post in the comments below. Anyway, so yes, we have Suffolk, kind of an underrated fiber, probably one of the most wonderful fibers that I've had a chance to work with in a while. So there you have it, Suffolk sheep, one of those underrated fibers. Fairly easy to find, although I can't tell you exactly where because my source has only been Japan. And if you see locks that are like this, don't be completely alarmed because it cleans up very easily. In fact, this was so much easier to work with than merino. And merino is one of those sheep that you can find pretty much anywhere. So if you've worked with merino before, this actually might be a nice break for you. Anyway, so I will be back with another video in the future, but if you have suggestions on fleeces you want me to look at, review, and talk about, do put that in the comments below, or you can contact me in any of the links that you'll find in the description, and I will be back with the next video very soon. Thanks for watching!